I just got done watching the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight, and I feel like I should say a few things, and the title is genuinely how I feel. So before you just immediately hit dislike, Jake Paul fans, just hear me out and let's go on this journey together. So this fight actually went quite differently than I thought it would. I thought that this was going to be a one-sided fight from one angle or another. I didn't know who was actually gonna, have control of this fight. I thought it was gonna be interesting, and I thought this was gonna be probably the biggest challenge that Jake Paul has faced up to this point. The beginning of the fight was very slow. Boxers were kind of feeling themselves out, kind of getting in their groove, getting the blood flowing. It was just the beginning rounds of the fight were very slow, which is whatever. That's fine. They're getting in their groove. That's whenever Jake Paul starts to step his foot on the gas and he starts to get going and getting in his groove. And Woodley's sitting here. I'm from St. Louis. Obviously, I got the merch on, so I'm clearly biased in this, but he looked very stiff, and it looked as if he was still kind of just loosening up a little more. The first couple rounds, he was definitely looking like Jake just looked way more comfortable in the beginning rounds of the fight. But then once we hit round 4, that's whenever things started to take a turn, because Woodley hit Jake Paul with some pretty ferocious shots. And this is honestly, in my opinion, the most controversial part of the fight, where I could see the most disagreement happening. Whenever he rocked Jake Paul, he fell onto the ropes. If the ropes were not there, I genuinely think Jake would have fallen, and that would have been a knockdown. The ropes can't hold you up in boxing. So I think to some people, they're going to be like, no, he stayed up, it's whatever. And then there are going to be people like me that are going to say, yo, should have been a knockdown. What happened? So leave a comment below what you guys think, because I'm curious to see your thoughts. And that's not a jab at Jake Paul. Even if Woodley was the one that got saved by the ropes, I'd be saying the same thing. But at this point in the fight, I thought, okay, things might be taking a turn, because now it seems like Woodley's starting to get comfortable. He's starting to get in his groove, and he's actually starting to land some of these hits. Because up to this point, he hadn't really thrown many punches. He wasn't really doing much. He wasn't landing much. He wasn't really doing a whole lot. But you could tell that Jake's demeanor after he got rocked had completely changed. You could see it in himself. He started to get gassed. The later rounds of the fight, he was definitely round 5 and 6. You could see visibly that he was starting to really just lower his guard a little more. He was just trying to stay outside. I could see there were many opportunities where Woodley could have ended that fight. He could have followed up, where he had a tired boxer in front of him that he simply didn't capitalize on that. And that started with that huge hit in round 4. That was the frustrating thing for me, I'd say, throughout the middle of the fight, later rounds of the fight, is you could see the moments where, Tyron Woodley had a tired Jake Paul in front of him. He could have ended this fight if he really wanted to. It just didn't feel like the hunger was there. And I didn't watch any of his later fights, like Woodley's MMA fights, but apparently that's the fighting style that he took on, is the very patient approach, but a little too patient approach. So I'm wondering if he actually would have gone after it and actually, had that hunger and drive to finish the fight, how this could have ended up. But that now it's just, at this point, it's a scenario of what ifs and what could have happened, because at the end of the day, Jake Paul won the fight. That's just the fact of the matter, is he won the fight. I will give credit to Jake Paul as a fighter. I'm not a fan of him as a person, but as a fighter, you can see through every single fight he's been up to, through up to this point, right now at 11:49 p.m., he definitely has improved. He has improved through every fight. I don't hold his career to much legitimacy yet, but I do think that this was his big challenge, his biggest challenge yet, I'd say. But the fact of the matter is, his boxing resume does not feature a boxer on it yet. And I think the fact that he had this much of a struggle against an MMA fighter turned boxer, I think this kind of shows that he's not quite ready for the professional boxing world. Do I think he's got potential to be there in the very near future? Yeah, I think if he, I think this was a huge learning experience, and I think if he takes away all the lessons from this, I think he could very well be a viable fighter in the boxing world. I can't believe I just said that. But there were moments where he did look good. That's kind of where I'm at, though. Overall, I'd say it was a pretty interesting fight. Who knows what's gonna happen next? Let me know who you think he should fight next in the comments below, because obviously Jake Paul's not going anywhere, and you gotta give credit where credit's due. He is drawing a lot of attention to boxing right now. As a person, as a YouTuber, I am not a fan in the slightest, but I must say that he is drawing a lot of attention to boxing right now, and that's just crazy. I felt as a YouTuber it was time for me to comment on this kind of stuff, and not to mention being from St. Louis, where Tyron Woodley is from, I feel like I gotta speak on my own. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you guys in the next video. Hit the subscribe button and drop a like, by the way. Support's greatly appreciated.